Okay, let's jump right into this. Today, we're going to explore a really fascinating personal account of something pretty unsettling encountering the paranormal while traveling abroad.
Exactly. What we have is a story shared with us by one of our listeners, actually. It originally came from a YouTube video transcript.
Oh, okay.
And it details this ghost hunting trip they took to an abandoned school in the Philippines.
Right. So our goal here, our mission, is really to unpack this account. We'll walk through the events as they were described, try to understand what happened, and, see what insights we can maybe pull from this unique experience.
Yeah, it's a compelling story because it's firsthand, involves multiple people seeing the same thing, and it's set against this specific cultural backdrop in the Philippines. Yeah, it's some interesting layers.
Definitely. So the setup is about 9 years ago, there's this group of 7 friends from Thailand. They just graduated university.
Right, that classic post-graduation trip.
Exactly. A sort of last hurrah. The narrator of the account is Bank, and 2 others mentioned early on are Ped. He's kind of the maybe mischievous one.
Yeah, that's how he's described. And Lang, who often went along with Ped's ideas.
So they decided on the Philippines, specifically Manila. And part of the reason was Lang had a local friend there, Paulo, who could help him out.
Which turned out to be pretty important, having that local contact.
Yeah. And this whole ghost hunting idea, it wasn't some big plan. It apparently came up totally spur of the moment.
Right. On their first night, just waiting for food. It was Ped, the daredevil, who just threw it out there.
And he framed it as a challenge, didn't he? Like, are Filipino ghosts scarier than Thai ghosts?
Pretty much, yeah. A bit of a dare.
Competitive ghost hunting. So the reaction wasn't immediately positive from everyone.
No, understandably. Some were hesitant. I mean, foreign country, maybe not the best idea, but, curiosity.
And Ped pushing it.
And Ped pushing it, yeah. That won most of them over.
Okay, and it's important you mentioned the actual group for the hunt ended up being 8 people.
That's right. The 7 friends, plus Paulo, the local friend, decided to tag along too.
Okay, so they're going, how did they pick the location? Just any abandoned place?
Well, the account says Ped had actually spotted an abandoned school near their hotel earlier that day.
Ah, okay. So he had a place in mind.
He did. And that's where Paulo's local knowledge really came in. They asked him about it, and Paulo confirmed, yeah, locals definitely considered that place haunted. Like, very haunted.
Based on local legends he'd grown up hearing.
Exactly. And this wasn't just some old building. It had a really dark history attached to it. Paulo shared the local belief that it all started with a student committing suicide in a classroom there.
Grim beginning.
And it didn't stop there. The account adds that the school director was later killed after some kind of conflict. So these events just fueled the bad rumors. People started thinking the place was cursed or, deeply troubled.
Which seems to have attracted more tragedy, unfortunately. The story mentions that before it even officially closed down, someone else snuck in.
Yeah, and hanged themselves on the 3rd floor.
Oh, wow.
And the detail the narrator includes here is, well, it's pretty graphic. It really paints a picture of why the place had such a terrifying reputation. The body wasn't found for almost 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah. By then, it was severely decomposed, bloated. And the narrator mentions the rope was so tight, it had nearly severed the head.
Okay, that's incredibly disturbing. No wonder locals avoided it.
Absolutely. The account says people wouldn't even drive past it at night. They were afraid of seeing something.
And what were the reported sightings? Paulo told them.
He did. According to the local stories, seeing a woman walking the grounds, figures of people hanging.
Just hanging there.
Or worse, sometimes described as twitching or struggling while hanging, and also people apparently seen jumping from the buildings. Just a whole catalog of horrors.
Man, hearing all that, you'd think they might have reconsidered. Like, okay, Ped, you win. Filipino ghosts are scarier. Let's get pizza.
Well, the story does say some were spooked and had second thoughts.
Yeah.
But I guess the combination of Ped's taunting, that initial dare,
and maybe just being young and curious in a new place.
Yeah, that probably played a part too. Whatever it was, they decided to stick with the plan. Midnight exploration.
All right, so midnight rolls around. The story describes them walking over 4 flashlights between the 8 of them.
And the grounds were just, as you'd imagine, for a place abandoned for, they guess, maybe 70 years. Totally overgrown, tall grass, trees everywhere.
The main gate was locked up tight.
Yeah. But it looked like people had climbed over it before.
Oh.
So that's what they did. Up and over the fence.
And inside.
Tricky going. The grounds were rough, lots of tall grass, puddles hidden underfoot. The narrator mentions they were being careful, worried about snakes or other venomous things hiding in there.
Smart. And the school itself, it was pretty big.
Sounded like it. Multiple buildings, some up to 6 stories tall. Must have been a significant school back in the day.
So they started exploring systematically.
Yeah, building 1 first, spent maybe 20 minutes there, then moved on to building 2, checked out the old bathrooms, the canteen area.
But initially, nothing.
Nothing scary, no. The narrator says they were actually starting to feel a bit impatient, maybe even a little disappointed.
Which, for someone like Ped.
Exactly, that seems to have been the trigger. The account says Ped, just bored, decided to start actively provoking whatever might be there.
Oh boy, how? Just shouting things.
Yeah, started taunting, questioning if it was really haunted, calling the spirits pathetic, useless, telling them to show yourselves.
His friends must have loved that.
They were understandably nervous, yeah. Tried to get him to stop. They warned him, maybe spirits understand intentions, even if they don't get a specific language.
That's an interesting point. Like the negative energy itself is communication.
Perhaps. It suggests a belief that malice can be perceived across any barrier.
So despite the warnings, they kept going through building 2. And then on the 2nd floor, something happened.
Yes. Their friend Pop just suddenly froze.
Froze, like stopped walking.
Stopped dead, eyes wide, staring into one particular room. Just rigid with shock, apparently.
Did he see anything?
Not then, no. They had to actually shake him a bit to snap him out of it.
And what did he say he saw?
He described seeing a girl, long hair, wearing a dirty student uniform, just standing in the corner of that room. But crucially, only Pop saw her at that point.
Still, seeing your friend react like that.
Oh, yeah. Even if the others didn't see her, Pop's genuine terror definitely ramped up the tension. It was the first sign that maybe Ped's taunting had worked.
That uneasy feeling probably got worse when they went up to the 3rd floor.
Dramatically worse.
Yeah.
Bank, the narrator, describes this sudden shift in the atmosphere, an intense coldness, a real sense of eeriness just washing over them.
And the others felt it too.
It seemed so. He mentions how pale everyone looked, especially Paulo. The local guide, who'd seemed kind of calm before, was now looking down, clearly shaken.
And Paulo knew something about this floor, didn't he?
He did. In a shaky voice, according to the account, he quietly told them in English that just 2 rooms down from where they were standing, that was the room.
The room where the student jumped?
The very one.
You'd think that would stop them, knowing you're right near the spot of a tragedy.
You would think. But apparently, Ped and Lang still seemed kind of excited by it all, caught up in the thrill. Ped even suggested splitting up.
Seriously.
Yeah. Luckily, the others didn't go for that. They decided to stick together and check out that specific room first.
And inside the room, anything?
Initially, no. They went in, looked around, found nothing. The story says there was actually a moment of relief.
But Ped couldn't leave it alone.
Nope. Still maybe disappointed. He started taunting again, saying things like, "Is this the room? Nothing here. Let's go back. These ghosts are useless, weak."
Just asking for trouble.
And right after he said that, they heard a sound, a distinct thud from inside the room.
Like something fell.
Yeah, maybe wood, something like that. You'd think that would shut him up.
But no.
Unbelievably no. He used it as more fuel. Shouted something like, "Weak! If you're real, show us how scary you are. Scarier than Thai ghosts."
Oh man, the narrator must have been freaking out.
Bang says he was terrified by then, just wishing Ped would stop.
Did he?
Well, shortly after that second taunt, there was another sound, another thud, but louder, more distinct this time. And it came from a corner near an open window.
An open window on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, the account notes that while a lot of windows were boarded up, some were broken or just open. And this sound drew all their eyes to that specific window.
Okay, the tension must have been incredible.
Unbearable, the narrator says. And then it happened. The climax of the whole thing.
What did they see?
At that open window, a figure started to emerge. A girl. In a dirty student uniform.
The same description as Pop saw earlier.
Sounds like it. She slowly pulled herself up onto the window ledge.
Pulled herself up? From outside?
That's how it's described. Pulled herself up, then sort of smoothly flipped into a sitting position on the ledge, with her back facing them, legs just dangling out into the night air, 3 stories up.
Okay. Creepy. But maybe just someone messing with them.
Well, hold on. She sat there for a moment, completely still, and then she slowly turned only her head back towards them.
Only her head?
Yeah. Her body stayed facing out, perfectly still, while her head twisted around almost 180 degrees to face them.
No, that's not possible.
And her face. The description is pure nightmare fuel. No eyes, no nose, just a mouth stretched into the horrifyingly wide smile, reaching almost to her ears.
Oh my God.
And one side of her head looked sort of dented.
Wow. Okay. And everyone saw this.
That's the key point the narrator emphasizes. It wasn't just one person. All 8 of them, as 7 friends, plus Paolo, the local guide, screamed loudly, simultaneously, pure terror.
Collective experience. That changes things.
It really does. After that, there was no more exploring, no more dares, just panic.
Pure flight mode.
Absolutely. They bolted down the stairs, tripping, falling over each other, just scrambling to get out.
Running through the dark, overgrown grounds again.
Yep. Scrambling back over that fence as fast as humanly possible, and then just running flat out all the way back to the hotel. Ped apparently said later it felt like he went from the 3rd or 4th floor to the ground in one jump. The fear just propelled him.
I can only imagine. Back at the hotel lobby, they must have looked a mess.
Exhausted, dirty, completely shaken. The lobby staff definitely noticed and asked them what happened.
What did they say? You can't exactly say. We just saw a ghost with no eyes.
Right. Lang apparently just quickly said they were playing around outside trying to brush it off.
But among themselves.
Total confirmation. Asking each other, "You saw that, right?" The narrator quotes someone saying, "If you didn't see that, you'd be blind." No doubt whatsoever about what they'd all witnessed.
And the comparison, scarier than Thai ghosts.
The consensus seemed to be definitely equally scary. Maybe even more so.
Back in the room, what did they do? Just sit there, shaking.
They tried to calm down.
Yeah.
Showered, prayed. The account mentions them kind of nervously laughing and asking Paolo if he knew any English spells against ghosts. You know, humor as a defense mechanism.
Trying to cope. Did they connect it back to what Pop saw earlier?
They did. They asked Pop, "Was that the same girl you saw on the 2nd floor?" And Pop confirmed, yes, absolutely the same girl.
Which must have made them think about the other stories Paulo told them.
Exactly. The narrator says they started thinking about those hanging bodies, the ones supposedly seen twitching. They realized they'd only encountered one entity, presumably the student who jumped, and the thought of what else might have been there or what seeing the other spirits would have been like. That was terrifying, too.
Sleep must have been impossible that night.
Totally impossible, the account says. Nobody slept. Paulo actually ended up staying over in the room with them.
Did the experience have any lingering effects besides the terror?
It did, physically, too. Both Ped and Lang, the two who were kind of leading the charge, reportedly got sick with a fever for several days after they got back to Thailand.
Wow. Like a physical reaction to the shock and fear?
Seems like it.
Oh.
And when they got back home, they took it seriously. Visited temples, prayed.
Did that blessing ritual.
Yeah, the account mentions a specific ritual.
Pathon.
Basically bathing in holy water because they were genuinely scared something might have, followed them back.
You can understand why. And Ped, the original daredevil.
This encounter apparently changed him completely. The story says he totally lost his appetite for ghost hunting after that trip. One direct hit was enough.
I bet. When they told their other friends, the ones who didn't go.
Initial disbelief, as you'd expect. But the narrator felt that because Ped and Lang, known for being brave, even reckless, were so clearly shaken and insistent on what happened, it lent the story a lot of credibility. Their fear convinced people.
When you look back at the narrator's own thoughts on it, what are the main takeaways? Beyond just, that was terrifying.
Well, one interesting reflection is that idea about intention versus language. That maybe spirits react to the intent behind provocation, regardless of the words used.
Which makes Ped's actions seem even more dangerous in hindsight. It wasn't just words, it was the challenge, the disrespect.
Exactly. And it also highlights the importance of respecting local beliefs, local legends, especially when you're in an unfamiliar place. The narrator suggests maybe the unseen works differently or is even more dangerous in different parts of the world. They use the phrase, "some can be deadly."
A sobering thought, and the fact that everyone saw it.
That's huge for the credibility, the narrator feels. It wasn't one person's imagination. All 8 people, including Paulo, the local who already believed the place was haunted.
He saw the exact same horrifying thing. That adds a lot of weight. It wasn't just tourists freaking themselves out. The local confirmed the terror was real.
Right. It validated the local legends for him in the most direct way possible.
So this whole story really traces that journey from a kind of lighthearted dare among recent grads
to this shared, deeply unsettling experience that had real consequences, both psychologically and even physically.
It's a powerful account, especially coming directly from a listener's experience via that transcript. Gives us a very specific window into belief, fear, and maybe the reality of the unknown, all through the lens of a different culture's view on these things.
Yeah, it really makes you think.
It does, and it leaves you with that question, doesn't it? When an encounter like this, something seemingly paranormal, is witnessed by multiple people at the same time, including a local who knows the lore, what does that signify? Does that collective experience point towards something objectively real happening? Or does it just show the incredible power of shared fear and suggestion in a charged environment? Or something else entirely? It certainly makes you wonder.
It absolutely does. A very memorable account.
Definitely. Well, that's all the time we have for this story today. We hope you found this exploration as fascinating and maybe as chilling as we did.
And if you did enjoy it, please do consider giving us a like, maybe share it with a friend who likes spooky stories, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs, for more content like this.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time.